The tension was palpable as the courtroom doors swung open. The air buzzed with anticipation. At the center of it all stood Rigathi Gachagua, the deputy president, whose fate had become a focal point of national concern. As the gavel struck, signaling the start of the session, whispers filled the room. Gachagua had been embroiled in legal battles that many believed could jeopardize his political future. Rumors of corruption charges loomed large, threatening to unravel the coalition that had fought so hard to reclaim power. The judge, a figure known for her no-nonsense approach, cleared her throat, her expression inscrutable. After reviewing the evidence and testimonies, I find the defendant, Rigathi Gachagua, innocent of the charges brought against him, she declared. The courtroom erupted into a mixture of gasps and applause. Gachagua's supporters cheered, their faces lighting up with relief and jubilation. This verdict not only cleared Gachagua but also opened a path for him to run for higher office. In a dimly lit office, President Ruto paced back and forth, his mind racing. Gachagua's acquittal could spell trouble. His deputy was now a rising star. The president's advisors, sensing his unease, urged him to take action. "We must secure our base," one suggested, "or risk losing everything." Meanwhile, Gachagua basked in the glory of his newfound freedom. The media painted him as a hero, a man wronged by a system that sought to silence him. He began to map out his strategy, drawing on the grassroots connections he had cultivated over the years. As the days turned into weeks, the political chess game escalated. Ruto, increasingly anxious, sought to consolidate power and distance himself from any controversial decisions. He initiated projects aimed at winning over public opinion but struggled to regain trust. The stakes were high as Gachagua announced a series of public engagements, appealing directly to the citizens. "I stand for the people," he proclaimed at a rally, "and I will not back down." His words resonated with many who felt neglected by the current administration. As the political climate intensified, Ruto realized that he needed to act fast. He reached out to allies, hoping to reinforce his position before Gachagua's momentum grew too strong. Secret meetings were held, strategies devised, and counter-campaigns planned. But as Gachagua's star continued to rise, it became evident that the battle for the future of Kenya was just beginning. In the weeks leading up to the next election, the country held its breath. Would Gachagua emerge as the leader of a new era, or could Ruto reclaim his narrative and maintain control? As the weeks passed, the atmosphere in Nairobi became electric with political fervor. Campaign posters for both Rigathi Gachagua and President William Ruto began to blanket the city. Gachagua's image, accompanied by slogans of a new dawn, captured the attention of young voters eager for change. In the shadows of political rallies and press conferences, alliances were being formed and broken. Gachagua, riding the wave of his recent acquittal, reached out to influential figures in the opposition. His team organized town halls, inviting citizens to share their struggles and hopes, creating an atmosphere of community and inclusion. Meanwhile, Ruto, feeling the pressure, shifted his strategy. He intensified his focus on infrastructure projects, promoting the successes of his administration. However, his efforts were often met with skepticism. At a packed rally in the heart of Kibra, Gachagua stood before a diverse crowd, young and old, men and women. "We are tired of empty promises," he declared, his eyes scanning the sea of hopeful faces. The crowd erupted in applause, chants of Gachagua for change echoing through the streets. Ruto watched from afar, growing increasingly agitated. His once loyal supporters began to question his ability to lead, and whispers of discontent spread through his ranks. Recognizing the growing threat, Ruto convened an emergency meeting with his closest advisors. "We need to act now," he insisted, his voice firm. They devised a plan to launch a counteroffensive, focusing on highlighting Gachagua's past controversies. As the campaign heated up, Gachagua found himself at the center of a media storm. Allegations surfaced, accusing him of shady dealings in his past. In the midst of this chaos, Gachagua took a calculated risk. He organized a live televised town hall, inviting journalists, supporters, and even detractors. "I have nothing to hide," he began, his demeanor calm yet passionate. The transparency resonated with many, and the event became a pivotal moment. The following days saw a dramatic shift in public sentiment. Social media buzzed with support for Gachagua, as citizens shared their stories of struggle and hope. Ruto, sensing the tide turning against him, intensified his attacks, but each blow seemed to backfire. As election day approached, both men prepared for the final push. Ruto, aware of the stakes, poured resources into a massive rally meant to showcase his achievements. Meanwhile, Gachagua focused on grassroots efforts, his team fanning out across neighborhoods. On election day, the atmosphere was electric. Lines stretched around blocks as Kenyans eagerly awaited their chance to cast their votes. As the sun set, results began to trickle in. Each passing hour brought a mixture of anticipation and anxiety, until it became clear Gachagua had emerged victorious. The news spread like wildfire, igniting celebrations across the country. Gachagua, standing before a jubilant crowd, felt a wave of emotion wash over him. "This victory is not just mine, it is the victory of the people of Kenya," he shouted, tears of joy in his eyes. But in the shadows, Ruto faced a different reality. He watched as his dream crumbled, reflecting on the choices that had led him to this moment. With a new leader at the helm, the future of Kenya was uncertain yet filled with hope. Gachagua had promised change, and as the celebrations continued into the night, a new chapter in the nation's history was just beginning.